Are you unknowingly setting yourself up for broken bones later in life? What if I told you there's a simple activity you can start doing today that could literally make your skeleton stronger and more resilient as you age? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could be the difference between maintaining your independence in your golden years or facing the devastating consequences of fractures that change everything. Think about this for a moment. Every single day, your bones are either getting stronger or getting weaker. There's no middle ground. And here's the shocking truth that most people don't realize until it's too late. The choices you make today, in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, will determine whether you'll be dancing at your grandchild's wedding or watching from a wheelchair. Let me start by explaining what we're really talking about when we discuss bone health. Your bone density is essentially a measurement of how tightly packed minerals like calcium and phosphorus are within your bone structure. Think of it like the difference between a piece of dense hardwood versus balsa wood. Both might look similar from the outside, but one will snap under pressure while the other can withstand tremendous force. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Bone density isn't exactly the same thing as bone strength, because bones also depend on other components like collagen to provide flexibility and structure. However, bone mineral density remains one of our best predictors of fracture risk, which is why doctors use bone scans to assess your skeletal health. But here's what really matters. While genetics play a role in your bone health, your daily choices have an enormous impact on whether your bones will serve you well throughout your life or become a source of constant worry and limitation. Several key factors influence how strong and dense your bones become. As we age, bone mineral density naturally decreases, and this decline accelerates dramatically in women after menopause, though it affects everyone regardless of gender. Your nutrition plays a role too, with calcium-rich foods having some impact, though the relationship between dietary calcium and actual fracture prevention isn't as straightforward as many people believe. Sun exposure matters because it helps your body produce vitamin D, which is crucial for calcium absorption. Smoking accelerates bone loss, particularly in older adults. But here's the game changer that most people overlook. Exercise, specifically high-impact and high-load activities, has one of the most profound effects on bone density and strength. This brings us to a fundamental principle of human physiology that applies to both muscles and bones. Just as your muscles adapt to stress by growing stronger, your bones respond to mechanical load by becoming denser and more robust. When you challenge your skeletal system, you're essentially sending signals that tell your bones to adapt and fortify themselves. Most people think bone health is only a concern for postmenopausal women and elderly individuals, but this thinking is backwards. Everyone benefits from bone strengthening exercise, and prevention is far more effective than trying to rebuild bone density after it's already declined. The younger you start building bone density, the better your skeletal health will be throughout your entire life. This isn't just about preventing problems decades from now. It's about building a foundation that will serve you for the rest of your life. So, does weightlifting actually improve bone density? Absolutely. Weight training stands out as one of the most effective interventions for bone health available to us. When you lift weights, your muscles contract and pull on your bones, creating mechanical stress that stimulates new bone formation. This isn't theoretical. There's extensive research demonstrating that weight training can significantly improve bone density in adults, including postmenopausal women who are at highest risk for bone loss. But not all exercises deliver the same benefits. Large compound movements that place substantial load on your skeleton, such as squats and deadlifts, appear to be particularly effective at increasing density in critical areas like the spine and hips. These are exactly the locations where fractures can be most devastating, potentially leading to a loss of independence and mobility. Before I continue, I need to be completely transparent with you. I'm not a medical professional. Everything I'm sharing is based on research and general information about bone health and exercise. You should always consult with qualified healthcare providers before making significant changes to your exercise routine, especially if you have existing health conditions or concerns about your bone density. Now, let's talk about what type of weight training produces the best results for bone health. The research suggests that lifting heavier weights generates superior outcomes compared to using lighter weights for higher repetitions. This means performing sets of 3 to 8 repetitions with challenging weights, will likely have a greater impact on your bone density than doing many repetitions with lighter loads. This makes sense when you consider the principle of progressive overload. Your bones need to experience significant mechanical stress to trigger adaptation. Light weights simply don't provide enough stimulus to drive meaningful changes in bone density. Timing is also crucial. Bone adaptation is a slow process that typically takes 6 months or more to produce measurable changes. This means consistency is absolutely essential. Sporadic bursts of weight training won't deliver the results you're looking for. Instead, you need to integrate regular weight training sessions into your weekly routine and maintain this practice over time. It's worth noting that while activities like yoga and Pilates offer many health benefits, they're unlikely to significantly impact bone density because they typically don't place enough mechanical stress on your bones. The forces generated by these activities, while beneficial for flexibility, balance, and general fitness, simply aren't sufficient to trigger the bone-building response you need. If you're new to weight training, you'll need to start gradually and focus on learning proper movement patterns before adding significant weight. This is where working with a qualified exercise professional becomes invaluable. They can help you develop proper technique and create a progressive program that challenges your bones safely and effectively. The beauty of exercising for bone health is its simplicity. You don't need complicated routines or expensive equipment. Just 2 heavy-weight training sessions per week, focusing on compound movements that load your spine and hips, can make a substantial difference in your long-term bone health. Think about the compound effect of this commitment. Every week that you consistently challenge your bones with appropriate resistance training, you're making deposits in your bone density bank account. Over months and years, these deposits compound, creating a skeletal system that's far more resilient than it would be otherwise. Consider the alternative scenario. If you choose to avoid resistance training, you're essentially allowing your bone density to follow its natural declining trajectory. This might not matter much in your 30s or 40s, but the consequences become increasingly serious as you age. The research on this topic is compelling and consistent. Weight training doesn't just prevent bone loss. It actually increases bone density, even in populations already experiencing decline. This means it's never too late to start, though earlier intervention obviously provides greater benefits. If you're concerned about your current bone density status, speak with your doctor about whether you should undergo bone density testing. This can provide valuable baseline information and help guide your exercise and treatment decisions. The bottom line is this: weight training for bone health represents one of the most powerful tools available for maintaining your independence and quality of life as you age. The time to start building stronger bones isn't when you're already facing problems. It's right now, regardless of your current age. Your future self will thank you for every heavy squat, every challenging deadlift, and every consistent week of bone-building exercise you complete today. The question isn't whether you can afford to start weight training for bone health, it's whether you can afford not to. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content to help you build a stronger, healthier life. See you in the next one.